Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we explore the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Milan Kohut, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced, the lessons learned, and the strategies fueling future growth. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by Kay Wallace, the founder and owner of Tools to Connect, a business focused on helping entrepreneurs and small business owners develop thriving, value-aligned businesses. Her work uniquely blends strategic business planning with authentic leadership, aiming to support business success that enhances personal well-being. Since 2007, Kay has been dedicated to guiding startups, solo entrepreneurs, and growing teams through coaching, consulting, and workshops that emphasize clarity, confidence, and purposeful growth. With that being said, Kay, let me officially welcome you to Founders Future.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here.
Lovely to have you. Awesome. Kay, let's dive in. I always love to start at the very beginning. So please go ahead and take us back in time before you even had your company. What were you doing before? And then eventually, what motivated you to start a business?
Oh, wow. As quick as I can summarize, I'll start in the 1980s when computers really didn't exist. There were no computer stores or anything. And I worked for a company. So I was in the corporate world to designing computer systems for government contractors such as Boeing, General Dynamics, etc. They went through a merger, which we know a merger is really a takeover by one company versus there's no true 50-50 merger. Somebody's always, anyway.
True.
So they asked me to train all these new people on computers and what that looked like for their customer base. But they took all my customer base away and said, because I know what I'm doing, I can start over easier. That led me to say, corporate world, I'm not for me. No, thank you. I'm done. So at that point, I started my own business, and I've had multiple businesses. You've heard people say serial entrepreneurs. And sometimes when people hear serial entrepreneurs, they think, oh, they're not successful. But I disagree with that.
Right.
It's like you start something that you think this is going to be the thing. And then it's, no, the world changes. And so you have to adapt. So I've owned
Absolutely.
2 dance studios. I had a professional dance background, and that's my artistic side. And then I was like, what am I going to do with this computer knowledge? And so I started contracting and how to teach installation for disk drives, that kind of thing. And then as we know what computers did, they exploded and so on and so forth. Then to catch up to my current company, Tools to Connect, I started that when Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn were in their early stages. They had just released that Facebook just released that they're not doing just colleges and universities any longer. They were expanding their base to everybody. But there was no business aspect. And I was living in Los Angeles, California at the time. And it was just like, that was a natural thing for me. It was just like, okay, how do I adapt this to business? So I did workshops on teaching people how to use Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn was the most confusing for people because people thought it was a social media. And I was like, no, think of it as a business search engine. And it works differently. But I taught simple things like @symbols, how to tag somebody, that kind of thing, and how to use it for business because there was no business pages.
Yeah.
That migrated into, okay, great. We know how to use it. We don't have time. Can you do it? So then I started an agency. And we were doing the posting and helping small businesses. And then came what I call the box stores. And a lot of people think a box store is like your Best Buys or that kind of thing. I considered in the social media realm, a box store is there's an agency over here and we're going to offer you package A, B, C, and D. You don't get an input, you don't get everything. They just had, this is our model. I said, I don't want to compete with that. So I changed and started doing consulting. And then I started, okay, the consulting, but I have obstacles. So I got certified in coaching. So that's where I'm at now, consulting and coaching. But you can see how my business model changed with the times. It's like
Yeah,
finding a niche
yeah.
and a need.
Yeah, it's always good to talk about adapting in business because obviously there is a lot of people who are pretty new. It's less than being 5 years in business. And there's also like serial entrepreneurs just like yourself. You've been there for
Mhm.
25, 30 plus years. And you
Yes.
know that if you don't adapt, you're gonna die. That's basically how it goes. You gotta be able to change that. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna be respectful of your time here. We're gonna switch to your business today. Now,
Okay.
when it comes to that, we want to understand everything from your ICP to what it actually looks like to work with you now. So the way I love to put it is pretty simple. Who do you help and what do you help them with?
So I am very passionate, and my niche is entrepreneurs and small businesses under 20 with under 25 employees. I feel like that's the backbone of how business was built. And it, I feel like they don't, small businesses, entrepreneurs don't, unless you have a whole lot of money, they can't invest like your larger corporations can. So with my executive coaching, I bring those executive standards to small business so they can have those same resources. So in that, I'll do group coaching if it's a community or if it's could be a particular industry, whether it's physicians or lawyers or that type of thing. That those that don't always like to ask for help, but they'll do it in a group setting. But I also love to do one-on-one coaching because, man, you can get really into what their obstacles are and their challenges and their barriers and their dreams.
That's a whole different level of understanding and connection, right?
Absolutely. And my goal is, and my love and my passion is helping those achieve what they want to achieve, but also allowing realistic expectations.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, with this being said, with this being your passion, help the listeners get a bit more context and really understand what it is that you're going through with those clients. What is the core offer and what's everything going on inside that?
So the core offer is, like I said, group coaching, one-on-one coaching for individuals and helping communities grow. So whether that's local for me or local for them, how do they immerse themselves in community? So it goes beyond, okay, what are your personal barriers? The biggest challenge that I find with small business and entrepreneurs is they try to do it all. Explaining and allowing them to be okay with, okay, accounting, I've always said 2 + 2 is 5. Accounting is my weak point. I know that. I am never going, that's never going to be my wheelhouse or expertise. So I bring in somebody that's their expertise and I
Mhm.
trust them and I rely on them. But getting entrepreneurs and small businesses to go, I really can't afford it or I can't do that. It's like giving them options. And a great example is so many companies need it. I need somebody to administrative work. Great. Have you thought of a VA? Okay, you can hire a VA. Have you talked to the local university or college for internships? They don't cost you anything. And it's a win-win for the intern, they learn, and for you. So it's helping them navigate those challenges.
With this being said, also, I think we'd all be curious about at this point, you've worked with a huge number of clients, right? So,
Yes.
what would you say is the most absolute common main constraint that you're trying to identify within those businesses and fix with them?
They can't see, they're too close. Getting them to step back and being objective. That is the biggest challenge for entrepreneurs and small business. You have a passion because they're all passionate, just as passionate as I am about what I do and you are about what you do. They're passionate, but they don't always see, they may see the big picture, but they get stuck in the minutia.
Mm.
They work in their business versus on their business.
Yeah, that's very common. 100%.
So that to me is the biggest challenge.
Love that. Thank you for walking us through that. Now, Kate, let's switch to the back end side of the business for a second. When it comes to client acquisition, what are you currently doing from marketing slash lead generation standpoint to actually have new clients coming in?
So interesting about me, which is different than probably most you speak with, is I don't do lead generation. I do I dive into community, I get to know people that I'm connected with, and it's personal. It's relationship building.
Hmm.
I don't want to take on a client because I don't know from a lead because I don't know what their challenges are. I don't have that, for lack of a better word, clinical
Hmm.
process. It's a personal
Hmm.
process. It's got to be a fit for them. It's got to be a fit for me. So I do discovery calls. I get into my community. I network with local chambers of commerce. I network online doing Zoom networking I'm in a women's group. It's all women from all over the world. And so that's where that's what I prefer to do, which I know is a departure for most.
I would still call it a lead gen, though, if I
It,
may say so. It
well,
is a lead generation.
that's a
It's
good
just
point.
that, yeah, it's just the fact that you've been focused more on the personal side of things, where you prefer the personal connection, networking, and that's like the best kind of leads that you can get, which is true, by the way. Which
Hmm.
also brings me to another thought that I have, which is actually my yesterday's conversation with a previous guest. We
Hmm.
talked a lot about how those type of leads are the best. They're the most warm, they're
Right.
very likely to close, very likely to convert. But at
Yes.
the same time, if you compare this kind of source to, for example, running advertisement, capitalizing on social media like Meta, stuff like that, it's
Hmm.
just inconsistent. You can have a good month where there's a lot of people coming in. You can have three bad months and there is no one.
Right.
There is a lot of inconsistency. So how do you deal with that?
I use LinkedIn. I use Facebook. It's like I'm in groups that small business organization groups, and they're always talking about challenges, and I'm able to help and educate. That creates a little bit of trust, a little bit of education. So
Mhm.
if I can't get a warm lead or referral, and a lot of mine comes from, hey, I worked with this lady. She was absolutely me. She helped me, boom, and they refer me out.
Yeah.
And I call a lot, sometimes they're what I call bluebirds. Is somebody mentioned my name and it's all of a sudden a big account and it's just, oh, wow, surprise. But
Mhm.
yeah, if I can't do it through face to face and on Zoom, then I'm going to do it in groups, LinkedIn, Facebook, direct
Gotcha.
messages on Instagram.
Interesting. Now, when it comes to navigating all of those activities, obviously, you're still the one providing the service. You're still the one
Correct.
working with your clients, but also managing social media, being present, putting out some content, constantly communicating with all those people coming in. Have you Is this still a one-woman show, or have you already built your internal teams for marketing and sales?
It is now. I
Wow.
am now a one-woman show by choice. By
What made you choose
choice.
that?
I feel like I've been doing this a long time. I migrated when I started my company and I had my social media agency. I had about 10 employees. And I found myself working in my business and not on my
Mm,
business. And
yeah.
so I went to coaching and it was like, well, okay, what am I not seeing? What are my internal obstacles here? And so I was living in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas up until last year. I'm currently in Atlanta, Georgia, and went through COVID. I also had, at that time, I still had my Tools to Connect company, but I also owned a network referral networking organization franchise. And I had 25 chapters that were meeting
Mm,
face to face weekly for referrals and networking. You go through 2020, as we all have, and it was amazing to watch the switch from in person to online, the resistance from people, or the throw up their hands, the anger, and so all of these wonderful people had about 150 members, probably about 20 of them like short circuited, for lack of a better term.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is not for me. I sold my half of that franchise. I had a business partner, sold that to him. And I said, I'm going to retire. Haha. There's retirements for me was like, I miss it. I miss the helping. I miss watching the growth for people.
Yeah.
And so I decided that's what I'm focusing on. And I don't need to manage other people.
Gotcha.
I don't need to
Gotcha.
be a big organization any
Yeah.
longer.
Hey, we got a couple more minutes, so I'm gonna move to the last part of the podcast that I wanted to
Yeah.
cover with you, which is the future of your company.
Yeah.
So if you think about, let's say, the next 6 to 12 months, what are
Mhm.
some of the goals, targets, revenue, milestones that you have set for yourself?
So one of the things that I want to do here in Atlanta, Georgia is get involved with it's called the SBDC. It's a division of the SBA. It's called Small Business Development Centers. I was a consultant for them in Ventura County, California for about 7 years. And the offerings that they have for entrepreneurs and small business, it's amazing. And they can't advertise. So, for your listeners, check out your local SBDC. You can get help at no charge.
Mhm.
So, I want to get involved. So, that's one of my goals is to let the local community be aware
Yeah.
that these programs are available. Another one of my goals to reach is I just want to have 10 clients, honestly, that I can focus on. So at a time, because people go in and out. They achieve what they want to achieve and they move on. And I say, great, you graduated. I don't keep people on for years and years. And so that's my goal is to be present for these 10 clients at a time and be selective. But that's where I'm at in the process. Not everybody is there in that process.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Now, in order to make all of that happen, what would you
Mhm.
say is going to be the biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge is getting to know my own community right now. It's almost like when you move from one state to another state, and you do your networking. That's what I do, immerse myself in the community and get to know small businesses and etc. I'm still new to Atlanta.
Mhm.
So immersing myself into the community, into that community culture, that's my that's a goal and a challenge at the same time.
Yeah.
Because if you have a group of, whether it's a chamber of commerce or a business association or whatever that looks like, or even just a networking group, a lot of them have been together for a long time. They're not real. I was like, they're a little untrusting. Who are you? Why are you trying to tap into? And that's a challenge.
Okay, for some reason, I must say, I don't think you're gonna have any issues with that. You're just gonna come and immerse yourself immediately, but
It's not my first rodeo. This is the fourth state I've
exactly.
lived in.
Yeah, well,
I've
you
done it
see,
before.
there it goes. Okay, with this being said, I feel this pretty much wraps up another insightful episode of Founders Future. So I just want to say a huge thank you for taking the time today and sharing your journey with us. Now, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, connect with you, perhaps even work with you, what is the
Mhm.
best way to contact you?
The best way to contact me is through LinkedIn
Mhm.
or email at this point.
Gotcha.
I've
You want to
opt
say what's the
I've
email?
opted to take my website down, and that's the way I'm working these days.
Gotcha.
So
Sounds
LinkedIn,
good.
so
Everybody can find
LinkedIn
you on LinkedIn.
profile is K Wallace one in Atlanta, Georgia.
Sounds good.
That's it.
K
My
Wallace on
email,
LinkedIn.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just summarizing. K Wallace on LinkedIn. Yeah,
Yes. Email is Kay at tools, the number two, connect.com.
love that. Awesome. Now, for listeners, if today's conversation inspired you as well, make sure to subscribe to Founders Future on your favorite platform. And if you're a business owner, more specifically a coach, consultant, or an agency owner, and you're looking to scale your company and really enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit also closers.io. Get in touch with our team and see how exactly we went from zero to over 30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on climbing, and I'll see you on the next one.